traffic congestion is very bad. It's very hard to be able to attract new businesses to those regions of the state if we don't improve our transportation infrastructure. I helped in 2007 to put together a bipartisan bill that received 85% of the votes, first major investment in about 20 years. Creigh voted for that. It got us started, but we have a long way to go. I'm the only candidate in this race, and all the newspapers have said so, that actually has a transportation funding formula and a plan. I've laid out a very detailed plan of about 20 pages with about 12 different funding mechanisms that are creative but don't raise taxes. It is public-private partnerships to leverage your money better. It's the use of bonds, $4 billion in bonds, helping Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads in particular. It's using general fund monies. Transportation is a core function of government. We ought to say so. We ought to protect the Transportation Trust Fund and put more money there. It's using creative things like offshore drilling proceeds, like selling the ABC stores. This is innovation. And my opponent still walks in here today, 21 days away from the election, and really has no transportation funding plan. What he said is, if you elect me, I'll put a commission together and we'll come up with a bill. But he's taken everything off the table except for tax increases. So, Creigh, your only option really is to raise taxes $1 billion. And I think in this recession, that's exactly the wrong policy. Our families can't afford it, businesses can't afford it, and seniors can't afford it, and that's the wrong philosophy.
Mr. Deeds.
There's no quicker way to create jobs and to create economic activity in every part of Virginia than to fix our transportation situation. It's most acutely an issue in Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads, but frankly, it's a problem statewide. 4,000 bridges and tunnels are structurally deficient. The day after I'm elected governor, I'm going to start assembling a bipartisan commission, and I've got the only approach to transportation that's worked. Bob can talk about the 2007 plan, but the 2007 plan, for the most part, was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. What's left of it is bonds that don't have a funding mechanism. So he can talk about the 2007 plan as a success story, but it's not a success story. I've got the only approach to transportation that's worked in the last 30 years. It's the approach employed by Jerry Blouse in 1986. November 4th, I'll begin putting together a bipartisan commission made up of Democrats, Republicans, lawmakers, business people, transportation experts to develop a plan to support and finance transportation. And if that plan, if that commission can produce a plan that raises new funding for transportation that's supported by the General Assembly, I'll sign it. The people of Virginia are sick and tired of sitting in traffic. If you like to sit in traffic, if you're satisfied with the status quo, there's another plan out here that the other man's putting forward that you need to support. If you want to move forward, I've got the plan that'll work, the only approach that will work.
Because this is such an important issue, each of you take 15 seconds and just respond to what the other one said. Mr. McDonnell.
Well, what I heard is no plan. It's the same thing he's been talking about for months. It's, I'll put together a work group after I'm elected and figure something out, and they'll raise taxes and I'll sign it. That's not leadership. That's not a plan. I think if you're going to be governor of Virginia, you've got to look the people in the eye and tell them what you're going to do. My plan will generate $1 billion for it. He doesn't have a dime for transportation funding. That's the truth.
Mr. D.
And he's got, newspapers around the state have said his plan is dishonest, and I've got the only approach that will work. His plan is dead on arrival, according to the Washington Post and according to Republicans and Democrats. His laundry list of funding proposals are, the Washington Post calls phony baloney. I've got the only honest approach that has worked. I've got the leadership it's going to take to get transportation fixed.